explains subtracting fractions.
Today, our learning intentions are to understand that subtracting fractions requires a common denominator, to be able to subtract two fractions by considering their common denominator, and to be able to subtract mixed numbers. We will know we are successful if we can subtract two fractions by converting to common denominator if required, and if we are able to subtract mixed numbers. We have another example of fractions in everyday life. Here we have plumbers, and they use fraction skills as well. Most trades do. The copper pipes for hot waters have diameters in fractions of an inch. So a pipe wall thickness can be half times 3/8 minus a quarter equals 1/16 of an inch. Plumbers also use wall thickness to calculate safe water pressures. So lots more examples of how fractions are being used in everyday life. Well, you may have guessed it. Subtracting fractions is almost exactly the same as adding fractions, except for the very last step when we take away instead of add. So, really quick examples. We have our 2/5 of pizza and our 1/5 of pizza, but this time I'm subtracting it. I'm not changing the size of the pieces, which means my denominator is still going to be 5. It's still going to be a fifth big, but I had 2 pieces and I took away 1. Probably ate it. How much do I have left? Well, I've just got that 1 piece left. 2 take away 1 equals 1. So we're following the exact same procedure as adding. So you guessed it, right? When I have fractions that have different denominators, I need to find equivalent fractions. Just like I did last time, I'm going to cut up my pizza into 6. And I have my 3/6 and my 2/6, but this time I'm taking away. I have 3 pieces, take away 2 pieces, I've got 1/6 of a pizza left. Let's do these key ideas really quick because they're basically the same. Fractions can be subtracted easily if they're like fractions. The process for subtracting fractions is the same as adding fractions except for the last step. At the final step, we just subtract instead of add. And again, if we have mixed numbers, first convert them to improper fractions. Let's try subtracting fractions. So I have 7/9 take 2/9. My denominators are the same. And I'm not changing the size of my denominator because my pieces aren't going to change size. I'm just taking some away. I had 7 pieces. I take away 2. 7 take 2 is 5. That's as simple as it's going to get. Now I've got 5/6 take away 1/4. They have different denominators, so I'm going to have to convert. My lowest common denominator is 12. So I'm going to have them both over 12. To get from a 6 to a 12 is times by 2. 5 times 2 is 10. To get from 4 to 12 is times by 3. And 1 times 3 is 3. Now I can do just a straight take away. 10 take away 3 is 7. 7 over 12. You have a go at subtracting fractions. Let's check your answers. 8 over 11 take 3 over 11. Same denominator, so we're just going to subtract the numerator. 8 take 3 is 5. 9/10 take away 3/4. Different denominator, so I've got to find the lowest common denominator, which is 20. To get from 10 to 20 is times by 2. And 9 times 2 is 18. To get from 4 to 20 is times by 5. 3 times 5 is 15. Now that I've got the same denominator, I'm going to take away the numerator. 18 take 15 is 3 over 20. And that's as simple as it's going to get. Now let's subtract some mixed numbers. I have 5 and 2/3 plus 3 1/4. First step is to convert them to improper fractions. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 2 is 17 over 3. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 1 is 13 over 4. Now that they're different denominators, I need to find the lowest common denominator, which is 12. To get from 3 to 12 is times by 4. 17 times 4 is 68. Which you can do on your calculator, remember. 4 times 3 equals 12, and 13 times 3 equals 39. Now that my denominators are the same, I can just subtract the numerator. 68 take 39 is 29 over 12. You can do that on your calculator if you need. Now I've got an improper fraction. How many times does 12 go into 29? Well, that is 2 times with 5 left over. So that's 2 and 5/12. First step is to convert to improper fractions. 8 times 5 is 40 plus 1 equals 41 over 5. 4 times 4 is 16 plus 3 is 19 over 4. Now I need to convert to a common denominator, which is 20. To get from 5 to 20 is times by 4. 41 times 4 is 164. You can use your calculator. To get from 4 to 20 is times by 5. 19 times 5 is 95. Now that they have the same denominator, I can just subtract the numerator. 164 take 95 is 69 over 20. How many times does 20 go into 69? Well, that's 3 times with 9 left over. You have a go at subtracting some mixed numbers. Let's quickly do them. Our first step is to convert to improper fractions. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11 over 3. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. I need to convert them to the common denominator, which is 12. 3 to 12 is times by 4. 11 times 4, 44. 4 to 12 is times by 3. 9 times 3 is 27. Now that I have a common denominator, I can just subtract the numerators. 44 take 27 is 17 over 12. 12 goes into 17 one time with 5 left over. B. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 2 equals 17 over 5. 1 times 4 is 4 plus 3 equals 7 over 4. Next, I need to find the lowest common denominator, which is 20. To get from 5 to 20 is times by 4. 17 times 4 is 68. To get from 4 to 20 is times by 5. 3 times 5 is 35. Now that I have the same denominator, I just subtract the numerator. 68 take 35 is 33 over 20. How many times does 20 go into 30? That's one time with 13 over 20 left over. I hope you now know the steps to subtracting two fractions, converting them to the same denominator if necessary, and also how to subtract mixed numbers from each other.